from MMA Island here interviewing MMA legend Mark Hunt. Mark, thanks so much for joining, man. The Super Samoan. How has quarantine been for you, man?
Thanks for having the show. Yeah, not too bad. Just a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
Chilling out and watching the world fall apart.
So speaking of that, just gonna get right into it. Obviously, Jon Jones has vacated his title. You've been very critical on the UFC and how they treat their fighters. That really stemmed from how the UFC treat their fighters. What are your thoughts on Jon Jones saying, I'm out of here?
Good on him. I think, like I said, I don't like a lot of the stuff that he's done, especially as the doping thing. But I think on that front, I think it's good on him. Why should any fighter sit around? I've been saying it for years. Why should anyone have to put up with this garbage sort of pay, especially in this kind of sport? You know, it's just for me. It's like I said, I've seen it many years ago, and I was already advocating for better pay and all the time with these guys. And now with the antitrust lawsuit boys trying to bring in the Ali Act into the sport, which is it's what's needed to make things a lot more financial beneficial for the fighters. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. That's what the fighters are there for. They're prize fighters. They're not you get beat up to get paid, not beat up for nothing. There's no the way I see it with the UFC bout, there's no what do you call it? There's nothing. There's no what's the purpose of the bout? It's not financially beneficial. There's no prestige of that bout. Whereas it's, compare that to the boxing titles, the three main ones, four main ones. When you become the world champion, you've made it there, and you've made a shitload of money. There's prestige in that bout. There's people want to get that bout because it gives them freedom. With the UFC bout, it doesn't give you jack shit, but just complaints. Whereas before, people thought that you get that bout, it's like fucking awesome. You get money, you get this and that. That's just a load of shit. Everyone's starting to realize when you get that bout, you get more problems. There's no prestige in it. So who the fuck wants to be the UFC world champion?
Yeah.
I mean, already the champions are vacating. And what the fuck's the point of all this garbage? I get beat up for fucking nothing. I get beat up to make money and become and do all these things. But you're not getting the money. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You're only sharing a small percentage of the pay-per-view. So unlike before where people thought it was good to be part of the elite. Like myself, I was once. I want to be part of the elite UFC fighters. The best in the world, blah blah. But as I realized, like a lot of other people are starting to slowly realize, there's no fucking point in their belts because you don't get fucking paid. You just get you're just a joke.
Yeah, and that goes to show, especially with such people refer to him as the greatest of all time, and Jon Jones, obviously with the argument against it.
I don't think he's the greatest of all time, to be honest. People say that, but when you're a cheater, that automatically rules you out. So people consider him as the GOAT. He's undefeated and all, but he cheated. He's been cheating and he's been caught cheating. So
yeah, it's definitely the argument against it. Looking at the greatest of all times, we talk about like people like GSP. People even say Anderson Silva.
Cheating, there's no argument. I mean, shucks, if you could have done it without cheating, it would have been fine. But when you take the shortcut, that's what you do. There's
Exactly.
there's no argument there by saying he's one of the greatest. Well, if you'd done it without cheating, yeah, of course. But you got caught.
Yeah, it definitely goes to show a lot about the fighters and fighters, especially like as yourself, fighters who went throughout their career and weren't falling into that type of stuff. I want to go back into the talk about Jon Jones. Just do you have a message towards him and to people like him who try to fight for bouts like super fights like him with Ngannou, people who fight for those bouts and aren't getting paid and the UFC's not letting up? What is your advice to those people?
Keep at it, stuff them. I mean, shucks, without the fighters, you don't need them. I mean, fuck, the company just, all they're using right now is to make you live paycheck to paycheck, and they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. It's like a normal job. Why would you even want to be a prize fighter these days? Because, we've seen many examples, like I just said before, the people getting to the top, getting the belt, and all these other young fighters coming in is, oh, nah, that's not going to be, I'm going to be different. Get the fuck out of here, man. How are you going to be different? You got to get that belt, you got to come back and get it. Then you're going to start complaining about it. about how much money you're not getting. Dude, we told you. You're not different from anyone else. I mean, a lot of these fucking champions are great fucking fighters. But they leave it all out there for everyone to see. Then they go and get fucking, and then they go jump in their fucking Mini and drive off. There's no wealth in that. There's no wealth in that title. There's no prestige in that title. So why the aura of that title, people trying to get to it is going. People are going, oh no, what the fuck should I do? Why should I want to be a part and fight for that world title, fight for that UFC bout? There's no fucking money in it.
Yeah.
You know where the money's going? It's a fucking proper business. The money's going because they're only sharing 20% or whatever the fuck it is of the total revenue.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about that. Yeah. Looking at the it recently came out. It was what 18%.
I thought it was 4%, and I was like, and even 80%. So I started laughing because fuck, that's a joke. That's just a joke. Even I mean, some of the other sports are sharing 40%.
Yeah.
And I said in one other interview, some idiot goes, the fighters actually make only 10% up of the company. And I'm thinking, fuck, that's the most important part is that fucking 10%, you dumbass. Fuck, you're an idiot.
Yeah, and for the just going to you've been very vocal of your problems with the UFC. Is there a point in time where you can say that it really started? When was the moment of time where it was just like, I'm done with this, I'm not dealing with this anymore? Where for you personally?
Look, how it started with me was started before the actual lawsuit. It started with arguing with these fucking fools over money, about fucking more money. I was like, I can't live from this to this fucking fight to this fight. You guys need to pay me more money. And then we started arguing about. It was one fight we were arguing, and I was talking to the brothers and fucking day, and I was like, and we organized a deal, and then they fucking reneged on the deal and sent this other fucked up contract, and I'm like, I was actually lucky I read it. I was like, this motherfucker's here, these motherfuckers right here, and I started laughing, and then we started going at it over the social media, and I was like, fuck yous, and that's how that's when it started from there. And all along, as I was fighting with these guys, it was always back from the steroid to the fucking more money. And I'm thinking, fuck, they've not done anything about this first guy I fought cheating. I asked them again, do something else about this other guy. And they just kept going. The numbers, I think it was like 3 or 4. And I was like, but the fourth one was Lesnar. I said, these guys aren't doing a fucking damn thing about it. They're not enforcing their policies. All they're saying to me is, we just have to put them through the fucking the channels of if they get caught through USADA. Then I realized these guys aren't doing a fucking thing about it. They're just rip-offs, and that's it. So, I started getting bitter about 5 years out of my contract there, with arguing with these fools, and then the Brock Lesnar did the whole was the straw on the camel's back, and then after that they tried to after the fight with Lesnar that I lost that I got cheated out of. That fucking dickhead, they tried to make me fight this other dickhead, Josh Barnett. And that dickhead's a fucking cheater too. And I said, I don't want to fight that guy. I said, he's a fucking cheater. And they kept pressing me. And I said, okay, put a clause in the contract that he doesn't get no money. Don't give it to me. Just take the fucking money. I don't want him to get a cent. And they said, no, and then 2 days later, he popped for gearing. And I was like, you motherfucker. As I was laughing, I was like, good job. That's what you get. Nah. And then they said, okay, motherfucker. And then they gave me this other fucking cheater called Alistair Overeem. And I'm like, this motherfucker right here. I said, we argued for a little bit. And I said again, okay, same deal again. Put a clause in the contract, the mark-out clause. Don't give him any funds. I don't want him to receive any funds if he's caught. Don't give me the money. Don't give him a cent. And they wouldn't do it, And then the difference here was they sent me a letter saying, we're going to fire you if you don't fight this fight. I'm like, you motherfuckers. So you're going to take my fucking living away from me and not let me earn any money to feed my family, you pieces of shit. And then I went and I signed the bout, and then I dropped the lawsuit. These guys are just getting worse and worse. So they're all criminals. And I think, like I said, it was, 5 years out before a contract where actually I was getting real better with the whole working for them. And, I couldn't go to a different company because they wouldn't let you. And, I just wanted to see out my contract at the end of the day. And, they're not going to let Jon Jones see his contract go anything. They're going to sit him at the back of the bus and earn not a cent. That's what they're gonna do. This like they in their conscience are gonna do to everyone else. The same thing happens. And like I said, their contracts are really airtight, and you can't go anywhere. They'll just make you sit at the back of the bus and starve you out.
Yeah. Leading into the talking about fight negotiations, you went over your opponents that they offered for you, and obviously, you mentioned that you wanted them to say if they were caught cheating, then you would say none of it. You don't want them getting any of the money. With them cheating, obviously being falling back on the terms of the bout, it seems like a fair proposition towards them.
It's only just a clause just to say that if he is caught cheating,
yeah,
take off all his money. Don't give it to me. I don't want him to earn a cent because cheaters shouldn't earn a cent for prospering. And what they're actually saying to me was, no, it's okay to cheat. We're going to pay you to cheat.
Yeah.
What? So what's the point of having your contract? There's no point. They don't enforce them at all. It's rubbish. Just like USADA's rubbish. Those guys are in the pocket of the UFC for sure. You can see by the history all the fucking results come out late after the fights, after they made the pay-per-view, after everyone giving their money for their garbage show. They're just crooks, man. Honestly, it's just disgusting. And they're still doing it. They're going to continue to do it until changes happen.
And I wanted to mention this to you. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but Dana White recently did a Q&A. I think it was actually a couple months ago, and he was asked who were the easiest and the hardest fighters to negotiate, and he said Forrest Griffin and Mark Hunt. You can guess who he was saying was each. So obviously he's referring to you being the hardest fighter to negotiate with. What's your response to him making such a claim like that?
Yeah, I'm not really that hard to negotiate with. The truth is, he's just trying to rip me off. Just like he gets it of everyone else. He tries to rip everyone else off. So why would I want to let this guy fuck me up the ass for a contract that I don't want to do it? I mean, honestly, why would I want to? The reason is he was hard to negotiate with me because I'm not going to let you rip me off. I'm sick of people ripping me off, and he's not going to do it. That's why I was like, I don't want this. I want this. I mean, why would you just let someone come and fuck you up the ass without fucking lube? Or even fuck you up the ass? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm a company man when it comes to when it's a fair go. But when I realized I wasn't getting a fair go, I wasn't getting any advances or moving ahead, then I realized these guys are just fucking me.
Is there a moment that it really just totally blew up for you, that it got really hostile between you two, and where can you pinpoint that as?
Well, like I just told you, the moment I kept arguing for more money, when they sent me the bullshit contract, it just went downhill from there. And they never did anything about these cheaters. They just kept going one after the other, and it just got monotonous. I'm like, it becomes a no contest. I don't move ahead in any rankings. I don't get any of the benefits. I just felt disheartened, and I was let down. I just felt like, what's the point of even fucking coming here and being one of the best fighters in the world in the UFC, because they're just crooks. You don't get anywhere. Trust me, all these boys and girls watching this, do something else. Because, man, you work for this company. I mean, your idea, even in your mind, you think, I'm going to get to the top, I'm going to make a change. You're not. You're not different from anyone else that makes it to the top. And yeah, you're a great fighter and all, but you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to change anything at all, because all the people that come before you are tried it or trying to do it now. That's why, that's like I said, I'm in these lawsuits now to try and make a change. They need this Ali Acton to help even things up, especially with the financial gain. Because what I used to think before is totally changed. What I used to think about being a great prize fighter or being, and I've done it for over 30 years, over 3 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look at these guys and I'm thinking, man, this is just disgusting. There's no point of, there's no prestige in trying to be a top UFC fighter. People thought it was cool to be a part of the elite. But trust me, I've been there, done that. When you work for this company, you don't get paid. You don't get this. You become shackled, you become in chains, and you don't want to be like one of those. I mean, as a fighter, I fight for my freedom. That's what I wanted to be doing. That's why I was good at it. That's why I've came from nothing and I've come this far. But like I said, when you get to the top of the world in this fight business, it just the sharks get bigger. Got megalodons riding around in the water. You're like, oh shit, And it's the company he's fighting, not the other fighters. It's the company. But I think banding together, all the fighters need to do that to make change.
Yeah.
I always say, without the fighters, there's no company. They only just try to hold down the fighters and let them know. But when you've got the elite, the top champions going, fuck, I'm not gonna share 20%. What the fuck? When I become the champion, man, I want at least fucking $3-4 million per fight. More. Fuck this fucking hundreds of thousands of shit. You cut that in half, you're paying your taxes, you got it, man, you end up with the fucking your hand in your nuts to your next fight. That's another fucking 3-4 months away. So what's the point of being a fucking top UFC fighter? Wouldn't you rather be a top boxer instead?
Yeah, and that's one thing Jon Jones mentioned, especially going back to it. He mentioned that he's not even making half of what Deontay Wilder makes. With them being such similar sports,
and
obviously.
Yeah, and of course, and he's on. Even though he's a cheater, he's unbeaten. He should be making the Canelo Alvarez, the any champion that gets there should be making, $20-30 million, because they have the mainstream, the volume of people watching their show and supporting them and going, fuck, people watch. Your money's not going to the fighters; it's going to those people that already got money, all those celebrities that own this fucking shit company. And before they owned it, it was these fucking brothers and Dana White, the fuckwits.
So going, I want to mention this. I know it was multiple years ago, but it's something that I think a lot of people with how critical you've been of the UFC, how critical you've been of Lesnar, going back to when DC beat Stipe, and he challenged Brock Lesnar. The UFC announced Brock Lesnar would be getting the title shot, being caught for steroids, and how you label as a cheater. How does that feel to see a guy like that get rewarded by the company of the UFC?
Well, that's what do we do with people that cheat in society?
Yeah.
Well, look what they're doing. They're doing it in sport. They're doing it in the sport. Going, it's okay to cheat, use drugs, and we'll pay you. That's what they're doing. They don't give a fuck.
So moving on to talking about when we're saying when fighters cheat, if you're in charge and you're the owner of the UFC and you see a fighter just got caught cheating, what is the punishment they should be getting in your eyes?
Well, no funds for starters. Take off all their money because there's no incentive. There's money incentive, and to be banned for life. What's the point? I mean, like I said, it isn't okay to cheat. And then if they kill someone, should it be a criminal proceeding? Of course, they should be in jail, just like those cops that killed that dude. Why are they still walking? They should be in jail for life because what they did, that's exactly what could happen in MMA. The guy could be, and they're cheating. They're policemen in a place of power. Those guys that use steroids have power more than normal, but anyway.
Yeah. So the fighters that got caught cheating, what do you think promotes their mind to do that? Why are you a fighter that's been clean throughout your career, and some of these fighters just tend to fall into cheating and using drugs and all that?
Money. Well, they get paid. They want to win. Winning means money, but when people are starting to realize, even if you win in that cup, you don't get paid. That's what the difference is. People are starting to realize, oh fuck, even if I do win there, I don't get paid. And you look at that by the top guys, the champions, because that's as high as you can go. When the high guys are going, hey man, where my money at? All the low guys are going. It's like this, where my money at? And that's so sad about it because these fuckers are just making the wall that they've pulled over everyone's eyes is coming off. Everyone's starting to see because people need to be speaking out about it. And despite my thoughts on Jon Jones and his antics, with cheating and the rest of that bullshit, he's a great fighter. And asking for money, of course, yeah. I did it. Fuck, I've done it so many times with this company, and I didn't even get the belt. He's the fucking champion of their company. And Cejudo, the same. Another one that's Stipe, I've seen before asking more money. They pay them off to shut them up. But when they're not, when they're arguing over shit like this, who knows what will happen with Jones? They'll probably pay him to come back in and start talking and keeping quiet.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, the fighters are obviously, it's getting more vocal what you've been preaching this whole time and talking about the UFC treating the fighters well. Do you think that eventually, do you truly believe that eventually the UFC will get what's coming to them and their company will take the backlash?
It's coming. The antitrust lawsuit, my lawsuit, it's coming. You're gonna get yours. People are gonna see your shit. Can't hide forever. I mean, unless they can buy off all the highest the courts of law in America, yeah, they can get away with it. They can keep getting away with it. You know? Well, then what's the point of fucking having a law then if people can buy that shit out of it? I mean, you try to take them to court in fucking Vegas, you'll lose because it's all hometown. You'll lose there for sure. I mean, I spoke to Shamrock the other day and he was saying, oh, man, open and shut case, fucking lost. I'm thinking, and he said, I've got hometown. They fucking just paid everyone out over there. Fuck, it's just ridiculous. I wonder if they can go right to the top and donate more of their money to the judges and pay them all too. So, I mean, it's fucking corrupt then if that's the case.
Yeah. I recently did an interview with Chris Lieben, and he was mentioning how his relationship with Dana White was he mentioned that Dana White is simply just a businessman. Are your problems with Dana White on a business side or on a personal side as well, or are you just mad at him as a businessman?
People talk about, business and personal. You know what? It's the same thing. They never get it twisted by saying that he's a good businessman. Dude, you're fucking with my fucking family. You're fucking with my income. You're fucking with my life. It's fucking personal. Okay? Don't ever say to me that it's just fucking business. I fucked you and your kids over because it's just business. Well, how about I shoot you? That's fucking personal. That's what happens. You're taking. People always say it's just business, Mark. Because that's bullshit. It is, man. You've just included ripping me off. You're ripping my kids off, and the rest of everyone else involved with me. So it's personal all the way. Don't tell me it's fucking just business. It sucks when people say that is, I mean, yeah, he's a good businessman. He's a fucking crook. I mean, you can be a good businessman without being a crook, but this motherfucker's a crooks.
Yeah. And with all that being said, we talked in lengths about the problems with the UFC, the problems with the fighters. Just talking about your UFC career in general, can you look back on that with happy memories, or does it just cloud the fact that all these fighters were cheaters and all that?
I used to have happy memories, of course, before that. And as I was going in there, and I realized, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting back into. I love fighting again. I'm not being ripped off in the back end. That's why my fighting's going shit. But then when I started getting in there, I was like, I'm glad to be part of the elite. Then I realized, oh shit, I'm not part of that. I'm a part of. I have to start fighting again because you got to start fighting for better in the company itself. So I mean, like I said, there was a point where I was happy, and then I started realizing, oh, I'm just getting fucking fighting cheaters. They're not doing anything about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they try to give you, these other cheaters. Then they force you to fight. I'm thinking, wow. So of course I'm going to be bitter at how I ended my career. I mean, of course I'm in 2 lawsuits against these guys, and they got all the money. This thing could have all been ended if they made things fair. This thing didn't have to start about this. I wasn't one to, in my mind to think I'm going to go sue this company. That was none of my thoughts like that. I just wanted to try and be the world champion, the best in the world. But that's just the hard thing to see to come through this and go through that. And when you reach to this high penalty, you go, fuck. It's just disheartening, is what it is.
Yeah.
And all the people that are watching, if they watch this, the boys and the girls, I understand that it's, you have options. And this is what will happen if you try to fight with this title. There's no prestige in this title. There's no money in this title.
Yeah, and going back to talking about what the fighters are being very critical of, even more so than the UFC, fighters have been very critical about talking about USADA, saying that they're knocking on the doors at the early hours of the morning. You mentioned how your dislike with USADA. What's your opinion on all that?
That's fucking bullshit. The USADA is just in the pocket with the UFC for sure. They're just fucking crooks too. Bottom line is they say they come knocking on the door and this and that. It's fucking full of bullshit. Look at the history of it. Look at the history of the results that come out after the fights, this and that. It's fucking bullshit. They're all in the pocket. Even when we with the Lesnar thing again, we in the contract with the UFC, we found this the guy. Now we know he's cheating. Okay, you have the power to take his money off him. They wouldn't do it. The results. I mean, USADA is just as bad. They're in the pocket with the UFC for sure. Both of them colluding. They're working together.
Yeah. And going back to talk when we were talking about the percentage and saying that it's 18% of the revenue goes to the fighters, is that make you laugh and you say you want it to be significantly higher than that? And if so, what would you think would be reasonable for that?
Significantly. Well, how about just making it fair?
Yeah,
Making it fair. That's all I ask. I mean, what's fair? Okay, so the fighters are the reason why people pay per view to watch the fights, right? They don't pay per view to watch Dana fight because he's not a fighter. So the people pay the money to watch these fights, these great fights, but why are they only paying so little? What if they pay 50% of it, half of it? I mean, that's a lot. People say that's a lot. I'm thinking, I don't think that's a lot. I mean, shit, fuck. They're the ones that actually make the whole fucking fight, the organization.
yeah. And seeing like Dana White and the UFC have gotten a lot of credit, and I want your opinion on this. They've gotten a lot of credit for keeping the sport going throughout coronavirus. Can you even give credit on that, or you just have so much dislike for them that it's just you can't even give credit for that because of how your stance with the company?
Credit, they just make you money.
Yeah.
They just make you money. That's all they're doing. That's all they've been doing. That's all it is. It's a company that makes money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
shucks. I mean,
yeah. Look, we've talked about the fighters. We talked about how USADA treats them, how UFC treats them. It's a whole bunch of a lot of things that you mentioned that need to be exposed.
well,
And
that's what
it's
I'm doing. That's why I'm doing all these podcasts because I'm speaking, and I don't speak this bullshit from. I don't speak it coming from a place of a couch or on the backside. I've been there. I've been in the company. I've done that. I've done all this shit. Like I said, what I've seen there, I wasn't liking. I was a company man until I realized you guys are just fucked. You forced me to fight when I didn't want to, and you allow these guys to come cheating, and you even give them passes. Why is that?
yeah,
So,
and I think seeing it. Yeah, come from a legend of the sport as yourself. When people see it come from a legend of the sport, they obviously kind of tilt their eye up a little bit if they haven't heard it before. Because this guy was a legend of MMA. Obviously, your reasoning for not wanting to be with the company wasn't because of your skill, because you were a very skilled fighter. It was clearly something along the lines of that. So when people hear you talk about it, they can definitely back you up on it and your view to that.
well, I mean, yeah, I was just all I wanted to have was a fair, even playing field, so I can start the fight. I mean, like I said, the other issues I have with the company of money, of course, arguing. I mean, all this comes from a place I've been there, done that, I've seen it all. I'm speaking just so people, the boys and girls coming through, can realize this is what you're going to get into. And whether you think you're going to try and change it, no, you won't. I mean, shucks. I mean, we have to keep trying. But like I said, I'm just letting you know before you come and fall into the same holes I have. Same thing.
Yeah. And that leads me to my last question for you, just to bring up, and you just touched on it, but looking at how the fighters, up and comers and like that, people who have dreams to be UFC champion, you must laugh at that when you think when you hear people say they want to become UFC champion, you must think you don't want to do that. And what is your message to those fighters, to end it off?
I mean, all you got to do is look at the champions now. Look at some of the greatest fighters in the world now, and look what they're talking about. You learn from your own mistakes, of course, yeah, but it's better to learn from others' mistakes. So you don't fall in them. And fall in them. So you see these champions right now. What are they doing? They're like complaining about what? About a better life. I mean, a better fucking money, of course. So if you think you're different, no. Together, you can change things. Not by yourself. So.
Well, you're a legend of the sport, Mark, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And as many people, I assume, want to say to you, keep fighting the good fight. So
Yes,
I
for
really
the evil
appreciate you
fight.
taking the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Just keep
thank you.
spreading the word. That's all. Thank you.